While the fans of the super popular period show The Last Kingdom absolutely love the wise and honorable King Alfred, his son Edward isn't everybody's cup of tea. With his utterly stupid decisions and tons of judgmental errors, it's evident why. We think he's even put King Joffrey Baratheon to shame with his shenanigans. Here are some reasons why we think he doesn't enjoy the same support as his father did. Alfred was smarter. First off, his father was a lot wiser. Now, if you've watched the show, you'd know that even before assuming the throne, Alfred was as intelligent and competent as Canute from Vikings Valhalla. He's cautious and super vigilant when it comes to his kingdom. We see him telling Uhtred, "Whatever I discover about my enemies gets written down," stressing the need of recording dangers to the realm and keeping an eye on potential threats, exactly what a smart king would do. Not just that, Alfred also learns spying skills in order to stay ahead of his enemies. And since he has eyes and ears in each of the kingdoms, he isn't afraid to become a spy himself. Anything for his people. In the first season, we see him donning a hood and hiding among the crowds to watch Otta the Younger's betrayal. And when he emerges after young Otta is executed, he rallies the shocked crowd to his side. Since he's observant, Alfred can predict the behaviors of allies and enemies by understanding how they think and act, and then force them to work to his advantage. Despite his intelligence rivaling that of Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones, Alfred is conscious of his own limits. He's not your drunkard, womanizing dwarf. Not at all. He employs the skill of others to defend Wessex and lays the foundations of a unified England, claiming that a good king relies on good advice. Alfred also frequently uses Uhtred's battle plans, who he's seen often in conflict with due to his religious beliefs, or rather the lack of, to gain a number of important military victories. King Alfred relies heavily on advisors such as Father Bioka, Otta the Elder, and his wife Aelswith. Throughout the show, we always see him being attentive to people. He gives them the benefit of the doubt, and yet he's also cautious of potential betrayal. Next, Edward makes terrible political decisions. Alfred might be all that, but his offspring is incredibly stupid. Edward, unlike his father, is an extremely reluctant king. He stubbornly declares, "I do not intend to discharge my duty," and insists on marrying a peasant rather than a woman of wealth and prestige. Now, don't get us wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with marrying a peasant. But this is 866, not 2022. People weren't as woke and wouldn't accept such stupidity. And how can you even trust a random peasant? Well, he learned that the hard way. His reluctance to fulfill expectations is maybe understandable given his age and the fact that he may not be ready for the throne. But Edward's bad political instincts and incompetence as king quickly begin to show, both to his advisors and his enemies. Edward, unlike his father, is overly trusting with no clue about people's intentions. As a result, he obviously ends up getting betrayed by his ambitious father-in-law, Æthelhelm, who turns out to be an incompetent traitor. And now, Edward is hot-headed. Other than stupidly trusting traitors and random peasants, Edward's also hot-headed and regularly makes reckless judgments based on his emotions. The worst quality in a leader, really. In order to realize his father's dream of a unified England, he leaves his family in Wintoncaster completely defenseless, and the city is then seized by the Danes. After a month of failed siege, Edward becomes frustrated and insanely demands that the city be set on fire, with his heirs within its walls. Thankfully, Uhtred intervenes and offers to sacrifice himself in return for the king's son's release. Uhtred again saves Edward when he convinces him to negotiate in the middle of the fight at Wintoncaster. In Season 5 of The Last Kingdom, it's Uhtred's daughter, Stiora, who saves the king as his army is being forced down a cliff by his enemies. Up next, Alfred was a bigger man. Despite their previously rocky relations, in death, Alfred apologizes to Uhtred for failing to recognize his sacrifices and offers his love and gratitude to the warrior. Alfred reconciling with the protagonist, with whom he had some pretty serious issues throughout, is a respectable confession that makes him more likable. After all, Uhtred helped to save the life of a young and even older Edward, repeatedly saves Alfred's beloved daughter Æthelflaed, and keeps Wessex out of Viking hands. Since Alfred has a great sense of duty to his kingdom and is committed to protecting his family, it's only right that he made peace with Uhtred of Bebbanburg, the protagonist of The Last Kingdom, before falling to his disease. Now, Edward wants glory while Alfred was selfless. Edward only wanted the glory of becoming a better king than Alfred, rather than actually trying to be better and caring for his family, or working in the best interests of Wessex, for that matter. When it comes to his family, it appears he wasn't trying at all, because not only did he let his family be captured at Wintoncaster, but also allowed his mother to be imprisoned on his father-in-law Æthelhelm's orders. To To top it off, he even turned on his sister Althaflad when she tried to free Mercia from the Danes. He was so horrible that while a plague ravaged England, he neglected his sister, niece, and son as they traveled the countryside. Fans know that Alfred would never have remained quiet while such injustice was being committed against his own family. We think Edward doesn't deserve the glory he gets for his victories, even if he comes close to realizing Alfred's dream of England. In comparison, Alfred secures Wessex and gains lasting alliances, fortune, and soldiers with the assistance of Uhtred and his own wits. Edward's capable of none of that. Even on the brink of death, Alfred mounts his horse and pulls his sword as the people of Wintoncaster cheer "Long live the king," showing that they love their king. He proves to be brave despite his poor health, and the people watching the show adore him just as much as the people of Wessex do. King Alfred forged a reputation for himself as Alfred the Great, taking a whole series to create a legacy that will stand the test of time. Alfred is the most powerful of the Wessex kings in the Last Kingdom, while Edward has had a mixed, actually mostly negative reaction among fans at best. For obvious reasons, of course. Next, in other news, Seven Kings Must Die wrapped up. The Last Kingdom may be over, but we haven't seen the last of it. Draymond announced the start of production for Seven Kings Must Die when he took over the show's official Twitter account earlier this year. 2 months later, somewhere in March, he was back on social media, this time to inform fans that filming on the sequel had wrapped up within just 2 months, which is a shockingly quick turnaround, but The Last Kingdom is a well-oiled machine at this stage, so we're not really surprised. Unfortunately though, despite the quick wrap-up, there's been no official release date by the makers yet. Just speculation that the much-awaited film could release as early as the beginning of 2023. As if we didn't have enough reasons to whine and rant following the final season's multiple gut-wrenching blows. It's difficult to say goodbye to a show as fantastic as The Last Kingdom, but at least it's going out in style. Let's hope the movie comes back quick so the fans can get the last fill of their favorite show. Ellsworth isn't coming back. The movie Seven Kings Must Die unfortunately won't be bringing back one of the show's super popular characters, Eliza Butterworth, who plays the character of Aelswith. That's King Alfred's widow in the series. Eliza is reportedly unable to appear in the much-awaited film due to a conflicting schedule. Reportedly, despite several attempts to make it work, her schedule has been a problem. Her character Aelswith from The Last Kingdom appeared in every season of the Netflix show, so the fans are definitely going to miss her in the movie. Uhtred becomes a father. And now, some good news for Uhtred stans. The Last Kingdom and its stars always had a huge fan following, but now that it's ended, Uhtred, son of Uhtred, played by German actor Alexander Dreymon, is more popular than ever. And just as his career is taking off, the 39-year-old actor and his partner Allison Williams, who's also an actor, have welcomed a bundle of joy into the world. He's become the father to a baby boy. The pair reportedly had the baby sometime last year in winter, but since they're both private people, it was kept away from the media's prying eyes. We say do whatever it takes to protect the family. The real Uhtred must be so proud. Even though The Last Kingdom is over, Dreymon will reappear as Uhtred in the upcoming Netflix film Seven Kings Must Die, so a double congrats to Dreymon. Do you think Edward was given a fair chance to prove himself? And are you excited for The Last King Must Die? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you in the next one.